showing Emma a PDF file. Before you do things like that, maybe think about this moment. Before you do things like that again, Tim Pool, maybe you should think about this moment and think about how angry you are. Just how angry you are that Candace Owens is saying stuff about you in her videos. Just a thought. Hello, my name is Ashlee and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the feud between Tim Pool and Candace Owens, and I am so very excited to be talking about this today. Before we get into it, please like and subscribe, turn on post notifications, please comment. It really helps the algorithm, and yeah, that would mean the world to me, so thank you. Now let's get into this feud. All right, so I feel like I have been so offline for the last couple of weeks. This is like weird to start out a video like this, but I think I've been in a bit of like a depressive episode. I don't know. I go through them every so often. And I went to the psychiatrist the other day, and now I'm also being treated for depression again. So, life is lifing right now. So I apologize if you have felt like I have been offline, because I have felt like that. I've still been posting videos, but just not as much, and it's a whole thing. Anyway, I'm starting to finally get back online, get up to date with everything that's going on. I've been very out of the loop. In the past few days, Tim Pool and Candace Owens have been having this feud, and I love it. I love it. I hate both of them so much. So I love when two people you really hate are at each other's throats. It's great. So Candace Owens has kind of separated herself from a lot of the people on the right wing after Charlie Kirk. She's been going down all the conspiracy theories and trying to basically call out everyone on the right, talking about how did they have something to do with it? What did they know? All these other things, right? I think a lot of what Candace Owens is trying to sell people is not real. I truly don't think she has any secret information. I think it's funny because she seemed to be the only person who was actually mourning Charlie Kirk. Everybody else was just using his death for content, really. And in the direct aftermath, she seemed to be the only one who actually cared. And now she is heavily profiting off of the conspiracy theories of his death. Heavily. On her YouTube, it is literally just constant Charlie Kirk. She's talking about Erica Kirk now. It's a whole thing. So she's been doing this for months now. And a lot of people on the right have been getting very frustrated with her because she is calling out people on the right. Tim Pool happens to be one of those people. She has talked about him a lot recently and has put him in a lot of thumbnails recently. And so I think this made him frustrated. I think this made him mad. There was a shooting on his compound. Now, Candace Owens doesn't believe that there was a shooting on his compound. Who am I to say? But what I think is interesting is that, the Trump administration, everyone on the right is trying to be like, Antifa terrorists, oh my gosh, they're so violent, blah, blah, blah. And yet, a lot of right-wingers, when they get in bad with Trump or when they get in bad with other right-wingers, start to get death threats. Violence starts happening against them. So I think it's interesting that they always want to blame the left, and yet, when they alienate certain people on the right, then they start to see more violence. Marjorie Taylor Greene, out of all the people, has acknowledged, of course she still had to throw in the crazy Antifa, she still had to throw that in, but she has acknowledged that once she started going against Trump, she started getting death threats, people were sending pizzas to her house, all this kind of stuff. And so Tim Pool, I think, is experiencing that right now with him and Candace Owens having this feud. And this Tim Pool, the person who was telling Sam Cedar that he was getting emotional The person who always likes to see emotions as weakness fully crashes out. Fully crashes out against Candace Owens. It's quite funny, actually. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to look at her response. And then I think Tim Pool's not only crashing out because he's upset and mad, I also think he's crashing out because now he's saying that, he's going to quit his podcast. So I don't know, karma's I should have known better. All right.
We're going to break down the claims she's making, as well as Cam Higbee, who actually called the proper sheriff department and confirmed there was indeed a shooting at our property. Now, these people who follow Candace just want to believe. They don't care what's true, and no amount of evidence will change their mind. There's no standard with these people because they just want to believe it. Candace Owens, who speaks in the third...
It is kind of wild, like, watching, like, the right now is going through a lot, okay? Because what's happening right now on the right is they, for so long, have been saying, if you just let us be racist, if you just let us be homophobic, if you just let us be transphobic, if you just let us, do all these different things, right? We promise things will get better for you. Like, things will get better. And things are not getting better. Things are getting worse. And so I think they're having a hard time scapegoating people or doing like the culture war stuff because they are in power and they're still doing that and they're still talking like that and nothing is getting better. Things are getting worse. So I think it's hard for people like Tim Pool, who have made their whole entire career after, being racist or homophobic or anti-immigrant, now having to deal with the fact that their ideology is not working and people are still struggling. He's struggling, obviously, because he's saying that he might not be able to keep his podcast afloat. And so they have no one to like blame all these problems on anymore. I think what's happening is they're all just turning inward on each other. And it's quite funny because it's happening in a lot of different pockets of the right. But this one is like the most notable one because Tim Pool is just like losing his mind.
Why would Candace lie about something like this? Could it be that she's lying about everything?
I don't know. Why do any of you lie? Like, I don't know. Like that's what's so funny to me watching Tim Pool, because I'm like, I don't know, man. Why do you do the same? Like, you do the same thing all the time. Why do you do it? Like, why do you do it? To get clicks, to get money, to get, to get in the algorithm. Like, why do you lie? Why do you frame things in a crazy way? Why did you say Majority Report was putting your music through some like filter? Like, that was obviously stupid, but you did it anyway. You said it anyway. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? I don't know, man. Like, it's so funny to me watching all these right-wingers be like, I don't understand why people just believe anything. You don't? You don't? Because you do that too. Like, it's the whole right-wing shtick. It's just to get people to believe anything in everything you say. This is Tim Pool like going off. Now, I had to go to Twitter to find this, and I think it's because he has so many different YouTube channels, and I gotta say, I hate when people do that. I know it's like an algorithm thing, and like I've thought about it, but God, I hate it. I hate it because then it's so hard to find. You're trying to find a certain video or clip and you can't find it. Anyway, I had to go to the bowels of Twitter. Ugh, I hate going on Twitter. Anyway, I had to go on Twitter to find this clip. So let's watch this clip of Tim Pool crashing out.
She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you've told me? She has no security. She doesn't deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit. She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these conservatives out there that send me these messages have no balls to call her out. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't DM me like I did something for you as you cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which she's doing to me right now.
Yeah, that was the...
Okay, I gotta stop it for a second. Oh my God. Okay, right-wingers getting a taste of their own medicine is like honestly really funny. It's not funny that people are like, if there was a shooting or something, that's not funny. I don't find that funny no matter who you are. I don't think that's funny. What I find funny is that he's like, I can't believe she's using me on her effing thumbnail. I'm in trouble because of all the things that she's saying about me. Yeah, crazy. You know, it's crazy. Maybe when you talk about trans people, you should think about that next time. Next time you want to go on a rant about trans people or immigrants or whichever person you decide to go after that day, before you do that, or or calling Emma a PDF file, before you do things like that, maybe think about this moment. Maybe think about this moment. Before you do things like that again, Tim Pool, maybe you should think about this moment and think about how angry you are. Just how angry you are that Candace Owens is saying stuff about you in her videos. Just a thought. Just a thought.
Done with these people.
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two shits. No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy. And she doesn't give a shit about her security. Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my property and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I got strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who try to live there. How am I even supposed to sell this property? And it's all lies, it's all hypocrisy, and it is for the purpose of making money, and she does not live the way other people live. And she claims she liked Charlie, she loved Charlie, and she is burning everything down that he built. Because...
I'm sorry, this is just so funny. This is so funny to me. This is so funny to me. All she does is lie. All she does is lie. All she does is want to do this for money. Yeah, no shit, man. How are you not all the same? How are you not all the same? Like, how do you not see that you guys are the same person?
Because she is evil. She is evil. And I'll say it again, this conservative movement is fractured, it's fried, whatever it is. Okay?
Yeah.
Republicans are on track to lose the midterms. They were actually trending the other direction until Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Yeah.
And this is the point.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Look, Tim, you're capable of lying. Yeah, I don't think that's true actually at all. And I think a lot of people were more worried after it happened that he would become some sort of like martyr, and it would boost the cult-like atmosphere of MAGA and like the Republicans. And it did for some. Like there are some people who it really that did work for. And it was, a lot of people worried it would be like a hashtag fire moment. It didn't turn out to be that because I think they, the way every conservative handled his death, I think turned everyone off, most people off, because all they wanted to do was profit off of it. And none of them seemed to actually care about him as a person, including his wife. So, just saying, including his wife. And so I don't think it worked because I think a lot of them are like soulless and don't care about other people and have no empathy. And so I think that's why it didn't work. But a lot of people were worried that it would make this a more religious cult-like atmosphere. And that didn't happen. It only happened for a very small group of people, but that didn't happen generally. And so I think he's wrong. He's wrong. People have been very upset with Trump since like Doge and everything that started then. So I think he's wrong. I definitely think he's wrong.
Point, isn't it? The most effective political assassination in history, and thanks to the likes of the vile Candace Owens, she has turned Turning Point into the perpetrators of the crime that was against them. I don't get paid by any of these people. I'm not on good terms necessarily with Turning Point USA. They didn't invite me to their stupid event. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. They invited me back after I started criticizing Candace. I'm not going to your event. I'm over all of this shit. The last thing that I need to deal with is a bunch of cowards in conservative media refusing to stand up to her. Megyn Kelly, come on. I appreciate the kind words, but come on. Such pathetic bullshit. And I get people saying, Tim, thank you so much for talking about it. I don't care. I'm not doing a favor for anybody. I'm not doing this to benefit anybody. Nobody's paying me. There's no Russia. There's no Israel. There's just me sticking my neck out and then risking dying for what? A bunch of cowards that...
Well, I mean, he was getting money from Russia. He was. He's not anymore, but he was.
don't want to stand up to protect themselves. People like Candace Owens.
I couldn't believe that she put you in the thumbnail of her piece today.
I'm done.
The idea that she didn't imply that you had some benefit or that you benefit somehow. Like
she benefited. I think she's a FEUD, and I think she killed Charlie. No one benefited more than her.
Okay, I don't think she's a FEUD. I think Candace Owens just has never believed anything she's ever said, and I think she's always been out for the money and the power and the fame, and she's getting it. He is very mad, and honestly, I think it's hilarious. I think it's so funny because I think all of the conservative podcasters, especially, never care about anyone else, never care about when they are going after minority groups. They continue to go after them. Trans people, especially trans people, have suffered a lot of violence and they do suffer a lot of like hate crimes and violence, and it is because of the rhetoric of people like Tim Pool and Candace Owens. They never care when trans people get harassed or they get killed. They don't care. Even though their rhetoric aids in that. They don't care. But when it's another conservative that's going after them and is harming their perceived safety, then they're like, oh, F you. I don't know why you're doing this to me. This is so dangerous. I can't believe it. And listen. It is dangerous. I was just talking about Asmin Golden Hassan the other day, and I'm sorry that video wasn't it could have been better, but I had a lot going on. Anyway, I feel like this video is much better. Anyway, hopefully I fixed the echo. Anyway, I think that don't break into people's houses. That's not good. Like, don't harass people on the street. Like, I mean, if they're a politician, I feel like the lines are a little bit more blurred, but don't break into people's houses. Don't shoot at people. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a good thing. And it was funny because someone commented and was like, oh, you must not get anything done for weak protesting or whatever. First of all, I have been a part of protests that have actually accomplished things. Thank you very much. Or protest campaigns that have accomplished the goals that we set out. So whatever. What are you doing? Are you doing anything? What are you doing? Okay. Anyway, so I just think it's interesting that they only care about it now when the rhetoric that's online is hurting them, is personally hurting them, and they feel like they're not safe. But they never stop to think about their rhetoric and how their rhetoric might make other communities feel unsafe. All right. That was where I was going with that. So next we're going to watch a short of Candace Owens' response to this. So let's watch this. This is quite funny.
First and foremost, what you are seeing right there is on a display of testosterone. Men that speak to women like this are not tough guys, okay? What you are seeing is actually a display of estrogen. Secondly, Tim Pool doesn't even have the intellect to understand that we put him in the thumbnail because he accused me of being someone who benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination. So this little, and I really he's a small person for this, a very small person who is also theatrical, Timothy Smollett, who pretends every year like people are trying to kill him. He's a chronic fence sitter, okay? Pretending like he is braving the wilderness for being the 110,000th person who's making a video about Candace Owens. What's next? Is he gonna make a video and call Kanye West anti-Semitic? He is a fundamentally weak man for what he did there. He should apologize. He won't. I don't care what happens to his platform. He's now essentially trying out because he's under financial pressure. He's trying out for a Zionist to pay him, and they will, okay? They will cut him a check, and I hope it happens for you, Tim. I hope it makes you happy. But to do that to someone who has never done anything to you other than disagree with you, you are a coward. You are less than a man.
Okay, so I love that response. I love that response. It's so funny to me because people on the right, especially like Tim Pool and all these guys, are like, "Oh, I'm not a soy boy. I'm a real man. I'm a real man." And it's like, okay, okay. Sure. Listen, I don't particularly find like Josh Hutcherson. Sorry, I just saw FNAF 2. I don't particularly find like Josh Hutcherson like attractive, but many people do. And I'm sure if you were to ask a lot of like men or women, they would see him as like a real man or a whatever, because he's kind of above whatever, right? He is very progressive. But see, people like Tim Pool would look at him and when they would say, "Oh, he's like a soy boy because he supports like, he supports human rights," right? And then look at themselves, someone like Tim Pool, and think that they're a manly man, or like Ben Shapiro, and think like they're the rugged man, even though they're not. Even though they're not at all. And so I think it's funny that she uses that against Tim Pool, and she's like, that is not testosterone, that is estrogen. Also, like, shut up, Candace Owens. Like, come on. I'm sorry. Like, showing emotion or being upset or crashing out or whatever, I don't think is like having estrogen. Like, I don't think that's just like a woman quality that makes you irrational or whatever. Like, I feel like men are irrational all of the, like, a lot of the time. But because they do it because they do it and they're angry, somehow that's not emotional. It's silly. I think men are far more emotional and don't know how to handle those emotions. And so they then become incels and like Steven Crowder and Tim Pool. Anyway, so I think that I loved. But then also she did the thing where she was like, "Oh, what are you, a liberal? Are you going to call Kanye anti-Semitic?" Yes, because he is. It's just a fact. But like, she's trying to play this game where she's like, like, what are you now? Are you going to side with the liberals? Like, is this what you're doing now? And so I found that very interesting. So the last thing I wanted to show you was Tim Pool talking about how he might quit podcasting. Which I find very funny. It's very funny because she is right when she says that Tim Pool is a fence sitter, and he does this a lot. He actually does it so frequently. He doesn't have an opinion, right? He doesn't have an opinion. Like when he was telling Emma that he was more anti-war than her. And then she asked him about the genocide in Gaza, and he's like, "Well, I don't really know. I don't really know." And it's like, okay, so then you're not anti-war. So then you're not like anti-imperialism. Like, you say you are, but you're not. And you're fence sitting because you understand that specific topic has two very distinct sides, and you don't want to pick a side because you don't want to alienate anyone. And so he does this all the time. And I do think that probably has to do with him not having as much money. I also think that a lot of these right-wingers, they do get money from people, and he was getting money from like this Russian guy, and I do think they get money from these random shady places or these random corporations or companies all the time, and some of that money obviously dried up for Tim Pool. Or he could just be lying so that his supporters could give him more money, which could also be true. So you never know.
Tim Pool says he may quit show as costs reach breaking point. Indeed. And what are those costs? Escalating security costs that exceed the ability to generate revenue through advertising, through memberships. And some people have said, Tim, maybe you should do like a fundraiser, a give, send, go, or some kind of membership drive because you need to hire more security guards. We can't secure the property from drive-by shootings, which is the big problem, which means we actually need a restructuring of how we do the show. The current conversations we're having is perhaps to keep the show going, we need a centralized location with more resources.
You would think that this would maybe make him want gun control, I don't know.
Now, to be fair, we got 2 weeks off coming up. So we got about a week and a half left in the year before we go on Christmas hiatus. And that'll give us time to reassess, figure out what we're doing. and plan ahead. But the problems we are facing politically, excuse me, somewhat involving me, my willingness to speak out, and much to my own detriment, are greater than just my personal feelings and the costs we face. It's the culture and the environment. 5 years ago, this country locked down, and it was miserable. Donald Trump came on TV and said 2 weeks to slow the spread.
What does this have to do
People
with...
were forced to wear masks.
Okay, what does this have to do with anything? Is Tim Pool blaming social distancing and masks on the environment we're in? See, in this... Tim Pool's talking about Candace Owens just saying crazy shit to get people to believe it. You're just saying crazy shit to get people to believe it, okay? No, the reason that we have the kind of animosity against each other, the reason that we're so divided, the reason things suck is because of the rhetoric that you have. It is because of the rhetoric of the president that you support. It is because of the rhetoric of conservatives for, honestly, decades. Okay? Conservatives for decades have always had to have an out-group. They have always had to have an out-group that they blame everything on, that they scapegoat everything on, and that has caused tons of hatred and animosity. Now you're surprised that it's on the right wing. Well, when you prime people so much, when you want everyone to have guns, and then when you prime people into hating people so much and being a part of this cult-like thinking so much, when you prime people into that with your content, with your rhetoric, and then you start going against someone else in that group, I don't know what you think is going to happen. I'm not sure what you think is going to happen. You and Candace Owens had no problem saying violent things against Democratic politicians. You had no problem making fun of Nancy Pelosi's husband. You had no problem with any of these things. What do you think happens then? What do you think happens then? You're just upset now. You're just mad now because all of that rhetoric, all of that stuff is turning inward, because that's what fascism is, okay? And people on the left have been saying this for a very long time. We're like, you keep saying this rhetoric. You keep saying these things. You keep going after people. But sooner or later, you are not going to be in the in group. Sooner or later, this group that you have been cultivating, this audience, this, cult-like following that the conservatives have been cultivating, sooner or later, it will turn on you. And what do you think is going to happen then? And that is what's happening all over the Republican Party, right? And they are and I think it's hard for them to find scapegoats and to blame other people because, like I mentioned earlier, shit sucks. They're in power. They have every level of power and shit sucks. So how do they explain that? How do you explain that? You can't. So yeah, I honestly, watching the right wing implode has been amazing. And it's fun and I love it. But Trump is still doing a lot of horrendous things right now. Still they got rid of the SAVE Act the other day for student loans. So I'm screwed. When it comes to student loans, I'm so screwed. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to have to default. I really don't know what I'm going to do. But anyway, they're still doing really messed up stuff. So while this is very fun, and they're imploding online, there's still a lot of very detrimental things happening, in the real world. Do I think that this will hurt Trump at some point? Hopefully, I think so. I think a lot of people are going against the right wing. There was a Democrat that just won in Miami, and it's been over 30 years since there has been a Democrat mayor of Miami, and so things are kind of looking up, but there's still a lot of not great stuff going on. But hopefully all of this animosity and fighting will hurt this administration and will hurt their ability to get things done. Who knows? We'll see. But hopefully, here's to hoping and still trying to have hope. But all right. That's the video today. Thank you so much for watching. And please like and subscribe, turn on post notifications, put a comment below, tell me what you think. Tell me you like this video, tell me you hate this video, whatever. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.